Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I do rise now in support of this amendment. One of the things that this amendment does seek to get to, which I think the underlying bill falls short on, is looking for stability and predictability. I do appreciate the work that has gone into this budget as it relates to the cuts, but I'm very concerned how this budget reflects our revenues. There was some discussion about where we are as a state with our revenues. We certainly know that the withholding is down, the income tax is down, the corporate tax is down, our fees are down. There was some discussion and I think confusion over where we are with our sales tax, and I believe in fact our sales tax numbers are down as well, but these revenue numbers that were adopted in this budget merely reflect us bringing the MRSA money back online into the budget as opposed to showing an improvement in consumer confidence. If we look at the DRS reports from April 2016, we have a $76 million decline in our sales tax. It is almost stagnant year to date in its growth. So I would suggest, I think, that even consumer confidence at this point is down. One of the things that I always do here in the district is certainly that we borrow too much. I think a discussion that has not been had in this building long enough, and I was disappointed that we didn't have it in the Finance Committee during the public hearing process, is where we are with debt service and our bonding, and whether or not we need at this point to put a hard cap on borrowing. When Governor Malloy first took office back in 2011, our allocated projects that were not funded were about $2.8 billion. They're now exceeding over $7 billion. And in fact, when this amendment was drafted, we discussed what cap should we put on our bonding. And we discussed the type of savings that we could see over the next 10 years. And I think our amendment is sort of phasing it in, about decreasing it by $20 million each year throughout the biennium. When we looked at some of the harder cuts to take in bonding, the response that we got back from the Office of Fiscal Analysis was, well, if you cut bonding too much, we're going to have to begin to temporarily borrow to fulfill our capital projects. And that statement should be a grave concern to all of us, because what's in fact happening in the state of Connecticut is we're allocating projects at a quicker pace than what we could actually fund it. And so now we've reached a point where we can't stop borrowing because we need to continue to feed the beast. And if we back off on our borrowing, it's actually going to cause a cash crunch for our capital projects. And because we really haven't had these discussions in any public hearings and haven't looked at these concepts, it is certainly going to be lost on the state of Connecticut and this chamber until it's too late. And so I think what this amendment does, on top of all the other good changes that are in it, it's actually looking to bring the predictability back to Connecticut so we could begin to see consumer confidence increase. We could continue to see businesses come back and begin to reinvest. I sat down with some of my investors in my personal business, and across the table they said to me, we really don't want to put any more money into the state of Connecticut. It was very sobering, because the investor that I was sitting across from was my father, because I have a family business in this state. We're third generation. We not only employ our own family members, but we employ other residents around the state. And it was very tough to hear him make that statement. He has no interest anymore in investing. This document changes that attitude, and so I urge support. Thank you.
Thank you.